Hello, welcome to our program Análise Diária. My name is Fernando Bender and this is our special edition on altcoins. We'll present to you our view on Ethereum and Litecoin quoted on BTC. Our analyses are performed by our software Wild Horses and current market data. Our program has 5 weekly editions on Bitcoin, except on Friday and Sunday. And Sunday we are having a special edition on altcoins. So stay tuned, don't forget to sign up to our channel and activate the notification to be informed of other episodes like this one. So without further ado, let's dive into the graphics. In this first one, we see here the price of Bitcoin quoted in Ether. We always start with this as a reference, and we see here that our software has forecasted for it a channel that is quite horizontal, meaning that we are right now at the top of the horizontal channel, pairing with the previous peak on 4130 theta. So we are likely to stay at this top. We might have moves up intraday, but it is our belief that we are not moving above it in a consistent way, closing the day above it, unless we have an increase in the volume. Although the volume has increased, as we can see here on the bottom of the graphic by this colored line that depicts the volume traded on exchanges Binance, OKX and Huobi, represented as how many standard deviation they're above the average according to this bottom scale. We see that the current volume is not enough to drag the prices up, and we are overextended in our expansion. So we can remain at this level if the volume so remains, and if the volume decreases, we are likely to experience a correction. We don't believe it will move much down. We believe we can remain above the 400 as far as the volume doesn't converge to the average, meaning the strong blue tones. That's our view for the current asset. So let's move on to the next one, and we see here our view on Ethereum quoted in BTC. Here we see a slightly different figure. We have an horizontal channel, although the software is designing for it, still giving to this peak here interpret as a downward pivot. We see a horizontal channel on it, although the tops are descending in value, but we see here that it's somehow locked in the range above 34 milli and 35.5, which is just at this line here colored in the background a light greenish tone. So we are likely to remain within this range. Contrary, here we see that the volume has increased in the recent sections, and that might, as well as in the Bitcoin quoted in Ether, to keep us within this range right now. We were suffering of a possibility of moving down because in the recent weeks we had here a diminishing in the volume that converged to the average, and in the last week we strengthened this position, and now the volume is trading around 0.75 standard deviations above the average, which in our view is enough to sustain the prices within the current range from 34 milli to 35.5. So we are likely to stay within this range as far as the volume remains in this range as depicted here. Now let's move on to Litecoin quoted in BTC, and here we see a totally different picture. We are here in our view in the end of an uptrend move, and we see here that the volume in the recent weeks has converged to the average, and that's not positive for this cross pair. And in our view, although we are here locked in a very narrow horizontal channel, there is a possibility of a downward move below this range, possibly making a test at the 40 milli here, 0.014, and possibly moving down to this range here between the 12 and 13 milli. We'll show this in the next charts to give a better look at it, a better idea. So let's move on to our forecast for the end of the day. In the Bitcoin quoted in Ether, our software forecast 4107 tethers at the end of this day in an admissible interval ranging from 4077 to 4136. Our margin error has been so far 0.73%, meaning that we are forecasting correctly 99.27% of the price from one day to another without considering intraday data, especially today. And we move on then to our next. We see here Ethereum BTC cross pair. We see here forecasting of closing the day at 34.6 milli, and that means slightly downward compared to previous closing. So we see a slight move down, closing the day in a range admissible from 34.3 till 34.8 milli. The background of this graphic shows the correlation between price and volume, and we see here correlation around and above 50% between the price and the volume, meaning if the volume increases, it is likely that the price might maintain its current level, meaning the previous close. Otherwise, we see here a possibility of a slight moving down. Now, finally, last but not least, Litecoin quoted in BTC. Our forecast for the end of the day is 14.9 milli in an admissible range from 14.7 till 15 milli. And we see here that our forecasts have been, our error is 0.99%, meaning that we're forecasting correctly 99.01% of the price from one day to another. What we see here is that the background tones are converging to the blue right now, still in the greenish tones, and that means that the correlation between price and volume has turned negative, meaning that additional volume is negative bias for the price, and that's according to our view of a correction where you have an increase in the volume and a moving down in the price. So that's what we might be expecting so far, and that is our current view. To have more details on that, let's dive into the graphics inside Binance. And here we see Ethereum quoted in BTC in a one-day chart. So each candle corresponds to 1 day, and what we see here is a clear horizontal range ranging from at the bottom 33.7 till here at the top 35.7. so it is a 2 milli range, and the volume is stable in this range. So it is our belief that as far as the volume remain at these levels, around it, a little above, a little below, meaning give it or take it, around this level we are likely to stay within this range. So for volumes higher than that, we expect a breach on the top of this region, so breaching its resistance and slowing down in the volume, reducing levels of trade in this pair in the day. We are likely to see our support being lost, and then we can look forward down levels here of 30.6, perhaps a little before that in 33.3, 33.2. It depends on the how much the market allows this to happen, especially how weak the volume becomes. Nonetheless, once main and important supports are lost, we are likely to see an increase in the volume but an acceleration in the move. So the volatility is likely to rise once main supports are lost. Looking on a weekly perspective, we see that we're still ranging, still a narrow range as we can see here, and very near to the bottom of the range that we had in a grand scale. That's why it is our belief that there is a potential upside for this asset, for this pair, as far as we keep the volumes increasing and are able to break up with this resistance. Namely, by trading above 40 milli, we are very likely to experience an upward move, perhaps till the 57 milli. That's something very positive for this currency pair. And as we can see here in the weeks, our volume in the recent weeks or recent months, as you prefer it, has been much bigger than in the previous region here, where we were trading much above and fell down the cliff until current levels. So there is an expectation that it is an accumulation being built, and if it continues like that, not falling the volume but raising it, that we are likely to see this currency pair move up. When we move to the Litecoin quoted in BTC, we see here that we are again trading on a narrow range, but at the top of a move, and the volume is falling visibly, and it is compatible with much lower price levels where we were trading at this volume. So it reinforces our idea that we are experiencing a move down in the next days, perhaps the coming weeks. Talking about weekly perspective, we see here a different picture where we had a jump in the volume that caused these recent jumps that we had in the price. However, the volume is decreasing sharply to levels that are not compatible with our current price level. That's why we expect that we will experience a move down, a correction, leading us perhaps to the 12 milli, a little below, depends on the strength of the move. But as we are watching this in a weekly scale, this will be a move that will take weeks. That means that we will have corrections and bounce backs on such a move once it happens. But importantly, as long as the weeks keeps going and the profile of price volume remain the same, there is a downtrend at sight, if so it continues. Thank you very much. This was our analysis for today. We appreciate your attention, and we will like to have you subscribing our channel and activating the notifications to be informed of videos like this. Before you go, we'd like to remind you, Shift Gold sells gold coins, and it has a partnership with Transcontinental Depository Service. It is important to have a diversity in investment, and as we have shown in other episodes, diversifying among cryptocurrencies is not a true diversification, at exception of stable coins, which we have our concerns regarding some of them, not all of them. We have not made due diligence in all of them, but some we have already checked and we do not feel comfortable with them, but that's our opinion. However, on general, all the coins, the cryptocurrency coins, they move along Bitcoin. So if you have a downfall on Bitcoin, that will drag down the others. So it's not an effective diversification, and it's important then to have different asset class. And have you ever considered having physical gold? It can be in your own possession, or you can trust their partners, Transcontinental Depository Service, to host your coins. So thank you very much for your attention. Don't forget again to sign our channel, activate the notifications. We'll be making more videos like this, more programs like that, and we would like that they reach you in your YouTube channel too. So bye bye.